speaking of that, like you're Jeff Emig, right? Supercross champion, motocross champion. There are a lot of stories about you
really?
out there. Yes, there are. When you meet people at Glen Helen or, selling ODI or, I know you do some trade shows, what do people want to talk to you about? What do they bring up? Like, it could be the arrest. It could be beating Jeremy at Steel City in 96. You have a cornucopia of things.
Yeah.
LaRocco kicking you in the ribs.
Yeah,
No, you
it's
kicking LaRocco in the ribs. So what do people want to talk about?
Man, all of it, I think, to be honest with you. And every now and then it's like, hey, remember we got wasted after this race or whatever. And you're like, okay. No, but you said we had a good time. Okay. Right. All right. But so I think, there are a couple times throughout my life here where I might talk about it in the book. I'm not sure. But where, just went too hard one night and had really a pretty embarrassing moment.
Okay.
Not something I'm going to talk about right now on the pulp show. But, it's like I just want to go out and have a good time, right? Yeah. We're just doing our thing. So there's that. And, we lived in a much different time. I mean, I told you that we're working on a documentary.
Yeah, yep.
I've actually partnered with Jeremy McGrath, and we are co-producing a film called Moto 90s.
Yeah, this should be great.
Adam Barker, Lawrence Lewis are going to be producing also, so we've been working on it. Little less than a year from now should be out. Yeah, it's going to be mega. We have Vince Vaughn committed to do all of the narration, and we've got a lot of really great people on board. As investors, we're strategic partners, things like that. Yeah. So it's going to be basically, Jeremy and I, where we came together in our rivalry on and off the track, and then like the subplots or everything that was motocross in the 90s.
Yeah, that was going on.
And what I always say is the 90s of motocross was like the 60s in rock and roll. It just can't be duplicated, right? Yeah. It just was a time period. Now we have these things around, like, all these guys these days, they're like, oh, I wish I lived in the 90s. And it's like, yeah, but you made $8 million this year. Like there's a little trade-off.
Yeah,
I mean, I heard Adam talking about how much money his Cowie contract and all that was, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, you were probably over $1 million in your heyday.
Yeah, but it wasn't like. Yeah, I mean, there were $1 million.
You had to win to get that too.
Yeah,
though, right?
you had to. Yeah, you had to dominate. Yeah, right. I mean, the most I ever made was like $2.2 million a year.
Yeah. What was your base? What was your highest base you ever made?
400.
Oh, really?
Huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so like Red Dog was like 750.
Yeah. See how in the year 2000 when I retired, when I broke my leg and back and wrist before that, and everything went from you were basically $250,000, $250,000 bonuses.
Yeah.
Everything went to $1 million.
Yep.
Right? Who's going to step up and beat Jeremy again? And then Ricky started. So then they start throwing money at anybody that was like the challenger, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, in that time period, man, with McGrath and then Carmichael and then Reed and then Stewart, it's like it was slim pickings to win a race was extremely difficult.
My theory on that is that's why we got Nathan Ramsey and John Dowd and everybody else going to 125s.
Yeah,
the OEMs are like, we can't beat McGrath. So fuck it, let's get a 125 East
Carmichael.
title.
We can't,
right. Let's get a. So at least we can go to Japan and be like, look, we won. Something.
I had that conversation with somebody the other day. You look at the next generation. You look at what Jet and Chase are doing right now, and kind of as it starts to shift with Eli going out. If you're a team or an OEM, where does your investment eventually go? Like the guys that have been hanging in 250 class, it just keeps getting better because there's only about. The amount of dudes that can win you a title is kind of thinning back out a little bit as certain guys are leaving.
But the difference is right now, and I'll really give a nod to the guys that are out there. To go back to the 22nd place rider in a 450 main event, that guy's doing a shit ton of training and work. Whereas you might, back in our day, the guy in 10th.
Right.
I mean, when Jeff Glass, I see the surf kid over here.
Right.
I promise you, Jeff Glass was making main events, but he was not training at the level of what the guys do now.
No, that's a good point.
And I hope you're doing well, Jeff. Haven't seen you in a while.
Right. No, you're right.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even Swink and those
90s.
guys.
That's the 90s. Yeah. There was a loose time.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, I mean, there was a time period. I got really serious when I went to Cowie at the end of 95.
Mm-hmm.
I hired a good buddy of mine, Eric Hilton. He came to live with me. I said,
I used to live with Eric in Huntington.
I need you to hold me accountable. which is like the rooster in the hen house, right? Let's be honest. But I said, I'm on the straight and narrow. We're gonna train our ass off. So work my ass off.
Yeah.
We go to like first round was what? Orlando, Houston, San Diego, right?
Yeah.
First 2 races, I was so balled up. I was so just like rode like shit, arm
serious,
pump.
Yeah.
We go to San Diego. Our buddy Donnie Wilson, Snoop's having a huge after party after the race in San Diego. It was like I went into San Diego. I said, tonight, boys, we're going out, win or lose. Well, that was where McGrath and I had the heat race, slamming each other, winning the heat race. Yep. He grabs the start in the main event, but that was a night that I could have ran with him, right? And I ended up second.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, it's on.
Yeah.
There were maybe less than you could count on one hand from that race in 96 until the end of 98 that we didn't go out after the race.
One hand? You got one hand?
It got
that's
serious.
Not
Troy, Ohio, 97, the super hot race.
Yeah.
Can't do it, man. Like, you're so dehydrated. Eyes are sunk back in your head. We had food afterwards. Like, I can't go out. I hate to break the streak here.
It was 8,000 degrees, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit in this one.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple like that, but it was basically and I mean, it was a different time. You've got these guys now. Ricky started this era of these are professional athletes. And, I talk about it a lot in what we're doing with this Moto 90s thing is, yes, I was a motorcycle racer where Ricky was a motorcycle racer that was a professional athlete. I was a motorcycle racer, but I wanted more of the rock star lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But,
like the lifestyle. I don't want to be an actual rock star, but I wanted that.
Yeah.
And in the 90s, you could do that to a certain extent, right?
So going on that a little bit, which I do want to talk about your career, so this segues nicely. So you win everything in 97. You're the best rider in the world. Did you go too far, or did you stay the same and then the riding dropped off? Or like, did you go like, shit, like, I'm the best guy in the world. Let's go even harder during the week and stuff.
No, there were a couple of races, but I mean, I started out like I was fast enough to win the first race. Tortelli passed him on the last lap. I thought it was a lapper.
But like Seattle, you go from first to ninth 14th, or whatever.
Yeah, whole shot terrible, to 14th right. and never fell.
But so you didn't really change.
But I was good, and then in like 2 weeks I got spun out mentally.
Okay, so it wasn't an off-track thing.
No.
That stuff.
No,
right.
I lost my confidence because it comes and goes so quickly.
Yeah.
But my problem was, looking back on it now, is that after I had won, there was a full calendar year where in 96 I won
250s,
250 motocross, motocross of nations, King of Bear Sea, supercross, motocross. We didn't win nations that in 97, but it was like that was all of my goals in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back on it.
You already had a 125 title too,
yeah. But I look back on it and I'm like, I didn't reset my goals. I was like, okay, I did this. Okay, now I'm here. And it wasn't until everything was taken away from me at the end of 99 when Bruce Sernstrom and Factory Cowie, when they fire me, that it was like, whoa, I need to reset. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And like, where do I want to go with this? And so I made a 3-year commitment to myself then. I'm going to race for 3 more years, and these are going to be the best 3 years of my career. And literally December 1999, with no races, I literally was the best that I ever rode a motocross bike in my entire life.
Yeah.
My entire life.
Yeah, you won the U.S. Open.
And then December 30th, I come up short on this jump, on this triple, and I was kind of hanging on by my fingertips. I'll pull some grips out here for this.
Great marketing.
A good reason to get
Look
this
at this
out.
marketing.
So I get kicked up, and I'm holding on by my fingertips. So when I hit, instead of being on my palm, I was like this. So when I hit, I had all the leverage. I pushed both hands through. Snap.
Oh.
And Dixon was working on my bikes. I literally crashed. I had to throw my arms to the side, went over the bars, like throw my arms to the side, and he's right there, like with the pit board. And my hands, like the top of my wrist were flat, and like this part of my palm was like over here.
Oh, damn.
And your tendons are all like this, and it was like oh shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, you realize like, whoa, no, I don't have to worry about any sprains. These are broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never got a chance. Never really.
And so I didn't. Yeah. And I was in the hospital, and that's when I started having a little, the voices were talking to me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling Pete Fox, hey, get ready, I'm going to come to work at Fox. And he's like, what? and then I went to First Supercross, and that, you know, I had my own race team and everything at the time, and I loved that idea of being a race team owner and all that. Money was easy. Edge was, you know, $100,000 check here, $50,000 check here. Like, it's easy. You know, I got cast up to here, and I left the First Supercross and watching it, and it's like, I'm supposed to be out there.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to whoop McGrath's ass tonight. Ricky, Wyndham, whoever's there, I was teed up. Like, I was good enough to win that on a production bike.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went home and said, okay, I got to rehab these wrists, right? And keep my wrists, they were, I mean, wrapped around the side. I didn't get the navicular ulnar or anything. But so, I mean, look, I just have perfect wrists now. Like, the therapy that I had to do during that time period. So imagine you go into the physical therapy office like this. And he said, okay, we're going to take ice bags and put on your wrist, wrap them so it's super tight, and then we sat there for 30 minutes. So you're just sitting there like, I mean, you're literally just sitting there for 10 minutes until they go numb, and they're like, oh, okay, now they're numb.
Yeah.
Then they take the ice bags off and said, okay, we got to break that scar tissue up.
Yep.
So at this time, your wrist moves about this much.
Sure.
Well, we need to get here.
Yep.
So then they take your wrist, and they would like massage the shit out of it, breaking the scar tissue. Then they take tape and ace bandages and start pulling it back. So now they pull them back, and you're sitting here going, oh, fuck, oh my God. So it's 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. And the worst was when they go, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go this way. So then they tape them, both of them. So I'm sitting here just, I mean, you're literally just mentally trying to get through it.
Yeah.
It hurt. But I was like, if they're not good, riding a motorcycle is done.
Yeah.
I can't be Rick Johnson. I can't have, the chicken wing.
Chicken wing, yeah.
And then I got this desire. I said, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to, I'm going to make a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had the throttle stick at Glen Helen, May 4th, 2000, I go flying through the air without the bike, landed, compound fractured my right lower leg, crushed a vertebra in my back. I've told this story a million times, but I'm laying on the ground, and I can see my boots, and I can't make my legs move. And I'm going through this thought process that this is really bad.
Yeah.
And then I started feeling some pain from my leg. I kind of pulled on my, like hip flexors and my quads and kind of moved my leg. Okay, this leg's broke. Okay, and it was 30 seconds or 2 minutes or something.
Whatever,
felt like a lifetime probably, though.
And I describe it. It was super heavy because you can imagine the adrenaline. Like, you could see I'm laying in the mud, and I could see every grain of sand and dirt like they're boulders. Like, and everyone's around me, no ambulance or anything, of course. It's Glen Helen, right? An hour for the ambulance to get there. And once I was good, once I said, okay, I'm going to be okay. I got all this tightness. My leg is definitely broke. I'm feeling it. I'm laying there. And I had this moment where, remember in like the movie Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze, it was like this thing where like, oh, this spirit leaves. I call it my racing spirit. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Look at it right there.
Oh, your hair's standing up on end, literally.
That's when I said, I don't want to have to do this anymore like this. Like, and so that, whatever that racing spirit is, that you go out and kick ass on your bad days, and you'll do whatever it takes. You'll train as hard. You'll sacrifice whatever you want. All of that left me that day.
Yeah.
And I said, just get me in the ambulance.
Make me okay.
I just broke my wrist 4 months before that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know the deal. You don't get any morphine until you're in the ambulance. They radio the hospital. Patient's in pain. Are you in pain? Yeah, okay. So they can give you 5 shots of morphine. Like, you don't remember number 2. True story. Guy comes in. If this guy ever sees this, I want to know what your name was. The paramedic gets to me and goes, "Oh, Fro, I was just coming to watch you race next week." The paramedic that came to me. It was like, dude, I'm in pain. I need some morphine. He goes, I can't give it to you until I'm in the truck. I said, get me in the ambulance because I am in some serious pain right now. I broke my back.
First, can you sign this?
Yeah, really.
Hey,
really.
it's not, he thinks he's signing a medical release. He was actually
Yeah. And so they get me in the ambulance, but I was fully coherent. I'm like, Tim, call my dad, get him on a flight out, call Tony, call Dr. Matiko, make sure the ambulance only takes me to Arrowhead Regional Medical Center because I'd just been there for 4 months for that.
Yeah.
And so I'm in. They get me to the hospital, and my buddy Tony had met me there. He was one of my partners in the race team.
Yeah.
So they imagine this. So my right leg's broke 4 inches above the ankle. Okay. So they unclip the boot, and they're trying to take the boot off. My leg's broke, right?
Yeah.
It's loose. They didn't unclip it and take
the strap out.
The strap and fold the boot open. They just undid the thing and was trying to pull it open. And Tony said, I woke up for just a second, like came to, like, oh my. And Tony's there, and I'm like, tell him to cut the boot off, doing one of those.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, hey, you guys got to cut it all off. His leg's broke. It got cut off. And he told me this story. He said they take my boot off, and because it compounded, he goes, all this blood came out. And he goes, falls against it. He falls against the thing. He goes, dude, I lost it. He goes, I barely stayed conscious.
This is your buddy. It's your buddy that you brought. Yeah.
And then that was it. And then it was over.
That was it. Yeah.
But that being said,
pretty fortunate now. Yeah.
Extremely fortunate.
Yeah.
Guys, friends and stuff. Good friends of mine haven't been so fortunate.
Yeah.
And there's not a day goes by that I don't realize that. And I remember, a couple weeks later, I just got a new house, and I had all of my audio video systems set up, but I don't have any furniture. Right?
Okay.
I think maybe I had a couch or something.
Right.
And they put the hospital bed downstairs because there was a bathroom downstairs. Right. I couldn't get up and down the stairs, but I didn't have any window coverings on the windows. And I'm laying in the hospital bed at night. My whole life is just like completely upended. And I still remember it because the moon was coming through, and I get a call on the cell phone. It's David Bailey.
Oh yeah.
And we probably talked for 2 hours that night. And I wasn't super close with David, but obviously, he's David Bailey. And he says, you have an opportunity right now for this to be your bridge out, and nobody's going to fault you for it. Yeah. And if that's and if we all have to, we all need to stop sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this was 2000, and I remember him saying, like, asking him about it and his injury and these sort of things, and like, well, would you ever ride again? He's like, if I could walk today, I'd ride tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that never was lost on me. The
you were always going to ride a dirt bike.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, David and Doug Henry, these guys have had the ability to get back on the bikes with the adaptive bikes and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, it's pretty tough for David with his health and the how long ago.
Yeah, I think he had some issues.
His injury
right?
was. But that being said, we share this passion for it, and even though my pro career was taken away, the fact that I can still ride a motorcycle, I still really enjoy it. It's getting harder, each year, especially. The fucking Mike Brown rides like he does. Everywhere I go, it seems like I'm lining up next to him. Yeah. But I keep it in perspective, and I really enjoy what I do. Sometimes I want to ride. Great, I'll go ride. Yeah. But if I went out to Glen Helen today and it was windy like this, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I had to.
Yeah.
I know the wind's going 50 mile an hour.
Yeah.
But now I don't. Now I don't have to.
Did you have? I'm curious around that time. If this was common for somebody your caliber too, did you have like a career-ending insurance kind of thing for that?
Permanent total disability, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
X-Brand goggles?
It's the X-Brand tear-off segment. 15-second rapid-fire
X-Brand goggles, Pulp Show 24 to save. Our guy Rich Taylor doing big things with the guys at X-Brand. You know who wears X-Brand?
Kyle Chisholm.
Yes, but also?
Shane McElrath.
Also? Craig DeLong, who just won GNCC. There's nothing tougher on goggles than GNCC racing. Craig DeLong, X-Brand goggles, clear vision. Cool. So thanks to X-Brand goggles for sponsoring this. These are 30-second rapid-fire questions, Pro. I know you're a big listener, so I wanted to review the rules. The questions are by a guy named Moser. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right, for Michael, if you could ride any of Emig's factory bikes, which one would it be?
98 KX.
Not me.
Got one.
Not me.
No,
I've got one actually.
I went to Millville as a child in forever, and the 91 YZ125 sounded so sick. Now we know the story.
Which year? 91 or 92?
Was it 91? Which one was it? Am I wrong?
I won the championship in 92 with the Monojet.
Okay, so 92. Your bike.
So good.
And I talked to Butler about it and Bob Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
All the work involved in making that piece of shit stock bike
Oh, yeah.
as good as the thing. Honestly, I knew not. I was 14 years old or whatever, and I'm like, listen to Fro's bike.
Yeah, well, I
sick.
mean, the 90, 91, 92 production bike was like the biggest pile of shit ever put on a showroom floor.
Yeah.
But we still had to make it win. And so when I joined Yamaha at the end of 90, Bob Oliver, engine guy, he's literally up with Bud Asklin, who was
Bill's Pipes.
Kenny Roberts, engine builder on the GP side of things. So they had the 500cc, Grand Prix bikes.
Yep.
So basically they said, okay, what are we doing with one of those cylinders is a 125.
Yeah.
So they basically, I mean, they would take the cylinder, right, this is a two-stroke days, and like they would machine it out and redo all the ports and everything in it. So it wasn't even the same as stock, but you had to start with the stock
I
cylinder.
think Bob told me it was a Suzuki ignition or stator or a Suzuki piston. There was something like
it was
another brand of
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a total age thing for me. But I do laugh every time I hear stories about 90s 125s. I feel like it doesn't matter what brand it is. I have somebody tell me, "Sir, our bike was such a piece of shit." Do you know?
No,
how
Hondas
were
were
good.
not. Hondas were not.
Mine were great, yeah.
But
then that crosses over. You get to the Hondas like late 90s, early 2000s.
But the 98,
bitching
the 98
way.
Cowie was pretty
Yeah,
sick
it was
too.
good.
All right.
It was good.
All right, for Jeff, with the current fan base, what do you get recognized the most for? Racing career, Fresno Smooth, announcing, or something else?
Fresno Smooth.
Fresno Smooth.
Not a race goes by that somebody doesn't go Fresno Smooth.
Yeah, man.
You know, they
make
quote
Dog
like
mad.
J Bones quotes,
Right.
going to Fresno and like all this, or hey, start every day with a fat bowl and
Emigos.
all that. Yeah, Emigos and
Emigos.
the interesting thing is that, I mean, 10% of the people that I see at a Supercross will call me Jeff. Everyone calls me Fro.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I grew up in an era where all my favorite riders, all my heroes, they had, their nicknames on the back of their pants or had their butt logos. They weren't logos. They were like sewed on letters.
Bomber, Osho,
and when I was a kid, all I like making it was having a nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you don't choose your nickname chooses you. And it just became Fro and Fro Daddy.
Now we just got ET3 and
Everybody's their initials.
CS4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, Hurling's the bullet is one of the only ones that clicks with me.
Denny Stevenson first called me Jeff Fro. So what we need to do is we just need to get Denny Stevenson going somewhere, and he'll just be the official guy that makes the nicknames for everyone, right? So.
All right.
All right, for Jeff, coolest toy you bought to celebrate a win or a championship?
Oh, I would have to say that I bought this an M3 BMW in '96. Special ordered it.
Oh,
all that sort of stuff. So it was great.
what year?
In '96.
96. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Blue with like this mustard leather interior.
Oh, sweet.
Badass.
Those
man,
era
sort of thing.
those
Yeah.
era M3s look like modern day. They look like
It was
go
a
karts.
four-door.
The 4-door.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah, 4-door. So it was a sedan. I'm not much of a 2-seater type. I did buy a Corvette in like '91. I don't know why I thought I needed that. Luckily, that was like the dumbest purchase of my life. I probably paid $15,000 more for it than I should have. Something like that. But yeah, the M3 was great. I love that car. Hey, so here's a great story about the M3. Can I go longer than 30 seconds?
Sure, you're Jeff Emig.
So at the time, my license had been suspended.
Okay.
So I have a badass F-250.
Yeah.
I have the M3, and I have this full-blown modded Jeep. Because I didn't have a license, my insurance was like $20,000 a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
My buddy Steve actually was. I got to be friends with him because I helped put his kids through college and stuff. But he owned the company, and that's where I could get insurance. So we go. It was my birthday that year. Denny, Chad Pedersen, I'm gonna say Dean Wilson, and somebody else. There was 5. Maybe Dana Wiggins or somebody.
Dean Wilson.
Not Dean Wilson. Dean Gibson.
Dean
Sorry.
Gibson.
Dean
Got
Gibson.
it.
Yeah, Dean Wilson was 2.
Yeah, I'm like,
we had him in the stroller.
I'm about to say.
So
Dean Gibson. Got it. Yeah.
So it's a Sunday night for my birthday. We're in San Bernardino, like Riverside, San Bernardino. We're
in
out
Cahoots? We're in Cahoots?
No,
or no,
I don't remember where we're at, but we were at a club, and it's like nothing's happening, and we're all like 25-year-old guys, like we're ready to like make this night happen, and nothing's happening. I go in the men's room. I got my cell phone going. I call America West Airlines. Do you have a flight to Vegas? They said, yes, we have a flight. Let's say that the flight was at like 11:50.
Okay.
It's 11:15.
You gotta get to Ontario.
This is old. So we got to go now. So we get in the M3. Denny's driving.
You buy 5 tickets?
I buy 5 tickets, of course. Yeah, I know tickets. So we drive across the 60 from the 215 to the 15. I tell Denny to shut off the lights and pin it. So the car would do like 155.
Yeah.
So we're doing 155 in a fast lane with the lights off, pull up to the airport. So we get out. Denny goes to park it. I get out, go to the counter. There was no TSA or anything back in the days. Hey, no, we're all here. We're all here. Hold the plane, right? So midnight, we fly into here. We land in Vegas at 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Stayed all night. Went to the Hard Rock. Did everything that we needed to do that night, and then we flew home the next day. So.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like it was $600 or something. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, let's go to Vegas.
Who cares? Yeah, it was like, it just had a $250,000 championship bonus paid. You're like, whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we had a good time with it.
All right, for Steve, where would you rate the Emig and Albrecht super team among the other greats?
Well, I mean, they're up there. It was awesome because Jeff started the trend of, hey, if you get the guy's buddy and they get along, they can win. Being a mechanic was almost secondary. J-Bone was good at mechanic, don't get me wrong, NCY days, all of that. But it started the Bundy thing where Bundy never left Nate Dogg. It started Skip thing. It started a trend of like, get someone that gels with the rider, will teach him be a mechanic, and they can maybe do really well. Now it's swung. Now it's the other way. Now that's gone, and it's the mechanic stays with the team. So I'm going to still go Skip and Jeremy because Skip had the clear glasses before anybody, as I've told him. But J-Bone had an Oakley ad, which is pretty fucking cool.
I just seen that Oakley ad not that long ago. That's ironic. Well, the interesting thing is that it allowed me to be myself, and we have a lot of love for each other, admiration for each other. We did this thing together. We got to go on this journey together, and sort of help each other. And he wasn't judgmental of what my lifestyle was going to be.
But before that, it was the crusty old guy with the young kid.
Brian Lunas busting your ass, right?
Right, or any of these older guys, Jim Felt or whatever. And it was more of a old guy. And I feel like you turned that into like, no, man, hire somebody that they get along with, that they'll, So you started that.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Trendsetter.
For sure.
All right.
For sure.
I guess we're not doing the tear-off sound?
Oh, we got a couple more here. Michael. Oh, there's the sound.
There we go.
Michael, what current pro rider is on the vital message boards the most?
That's gone a lot of calmer. I have a really good one for that. This is probably 4 or 5 years ago. I'm on a road bike ride with Justin Barsha, and it's somehow just randomly out of the blue, he rattles off some username. Say it's like YZ Rider 84, and your guys' forum's a fucking dick. And I'm like, I start laughing, and I'm like, okay, I spend enough time on there, I would know who that user is. I'm like, how do you know? Oh, he said this, and this about me the other day, and I just started laughing on the ride. I'm like,
Barsha did?
Yeah, this was a couple years back, and I just started laughing. I was like, you need to spend less time on the forum.
Yeah. Imagine if there was a forum in Froze days. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
A couple riders. I mean, there's been riders over the year who've had accounts.
Stu had
an account. Found the Stu one. The Stu one's really funny because he basically pretended he didn't like James and would like pump up Reed in his posts. Oh my God. When I found it, it was great. Actually, Guy B had found it, and he's like, look at this, and slides it over to me one day at work.
The email address.
Oh, it was good.
There we go. There's a tear off again.
All right, last question for Jeff. Favorite and least favorite teammate?
Oh,
shit.
I know his least favorite.
Your least favorite? You think you do?
Oh, yeah.
Man. What's his initials?
DB.
No. No, definitely not Bradshaw.
Oh, he told me he didn't like any of his teammates outside of Duboc.
No, we had
Okay.
we had a moment where it wasn't very good.
Right.
But
not too,
after we
okay.
retired, we're actually out here at Mandalay for Yamaha's 50th anniversary, and we're getting just smashed. I mean, RJ and Glover and everybody were just like all time. Bradshaw and I end up out in the lobby to the main ballroom, and we sat there for like 30 minutes. And his wife's like, come on, let's go. And he's like, nope, we got to get through this. And he and I literally, after all these years, I'm like, dude, you just fucking left the team, dude.
Yeah.
Even though I was a year older, you were the veteran.
Yeah.
You just left us, dude. Like, and then I got Mike Craig. And I hated being teammates with Mike Craig. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Mike is so Mike, right? It was just so fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's
that,
a lot.
it was just. And so there, in our locker area in the truck, I used to have the in spot, right? And so I would ride, let's say I'm riding 125 and he's riding the 250. Well, I come back and all my CDs are out. And he's like listening. He's clearly listening to my CDs. I'm super OCD about everything. I would like these grips got to be like here and all that. I come back and so now he's out for practice or whatever. And he's gone through all my shit. And I'm just like, dude, stop messing with my stuff.
You only had him for 8 races or whatever.
Yeah, but no, it was Unadilla is when it got clipped.
Oh, I thought it was
longer.
Okay, shorter.
But it was just, Mike's Mike. And like if you're trying to be focused on certain stuff, Mike's conversation is, a
little different.
He's freaking crazy.
Yes.
And so it was really difficult that,
so
because
Craig is your least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your most favorite?
Oh, man. Favorite teammate? I don't know. I've always, Rhino and I were always tight, I guess, like.
He ever try to beat you up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn Helen one day. You never heard of Glenn Helen?
I did. No, that's why I brought that up.
Yeah, he wanted to kick my ass, dude. It was bad. It was bad. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel really fortunate. I've seen Doug Duboc a couple weeks ago.
Doug's a legend.
Doug's great.
Doug's a
it's
legend.
like, and then Johnny O'Mara was great the first year because we were rookies and he was the veteran. He was on his way out. We were coming in, and he was so great. Do you remember on the old airlines before they had digital audio stuff, they used to have headphones, but there were little air tubes.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was like two tubes. You'd plug it in. You're probably not old.
No, I don't know. I'm just
so
going
you'd
with
plug it in. And there were music and stuff would go through it. And it was like what do you call it? A stethoscope.
You could
like
pick your genre of music or something, right? With the channels on the inside.
I don't remember. Maybe a little button.
You get buttons there. Yeah.
So we used to fly back into Ontario on Sunday nights after the race. The flight would land at like midnight, and Johnny O was flying with us. So we're all rookies and stuff. And one night, we're just like super worn out from Red Bud or whatever it was. And so he takes my headphones and he pulls my headphones out and he's like, "This is your captain speaking." And he's just all the funny stuff that Johnny O would say, and and it sounds like it's like this. It sounds like it's coming through the tubes. Oh my God, he was mega.
A lot of poop jokes with Johnny O too.
Yeah,
a lot of poop stuff.
Ball sack was out a lot.
Ball sack and poop, and Johnny was into that.
Yeah, so we all used to fly back. Do you ever hear the Troy Lee story?
Yes, yeah.
So you heard the Troy Lee story about the airline?
Mm-mm.
So we're coming back from a race. He's with Mitch, okay? And the first flight, I think it's Red Bud because Keith McCarty upgraded me, and I'm sitting first class, and Troy and Mitch are right here, and they like to have a few adult beverages if you don't know their reputation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're like handing the first class flight attendant was giving us wine, so we're handing wine back. In the airport at Chicago, whatever it was, they get smashed, Mitch and Troy. So they go to get on the next flight, and you can imagine those two together. They're like 10-year-olds.
They're low. Yep.
So they're wheeling Mitch onto the flight, and he goes, oh, and he falls into the first class seat because first class wasn't always full then.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, sir, just stay there. Is he with you? Or you just take this seat." True story, right? So we're all fall back, and they're just like hammered. Been drinking the whole time. So we're in the back of the plane, Sunday night flight. They lower the lights, half the plane's full. Like the back rows, there would not even be anybody in there.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're in the back. You're getting 3 seats to yourself, laying down, All of a sudden, somebody comes running back through the aisle. "We're going down! We're too close to the trees! We're going to crash! Pull up!" is
It's
Troy.
Troy.
Oh, that's not the Troy story I heard.
No.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the flight attendant's freaking out. We're laughing around. You know, there's a bunch of us on the flight.
Yeah.
He sits down with us, right, and he's just Troy, you know, just being Troy. And flight attendant's like, sir, you got to behave. So, okay, so
Yeah.
things settle down. So we're sitting there. Somewhere along the line, I think I might have been an instigator. It's like, you need to go in the overhead
Oh,
compartment.
this is the one I know. Yeah.
So
yeah.
same flight.
Yeah, same flight. Okay.
Oh
You,
my
you can
God.
see how he got to the
This
point
has-
to get up there.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, the back of the plane was empty. So he crawls up into overhead compartment.
Yeah.
And we close it. Ding. Excuse me, ma'am. Can you get you had towels or not towels, blankets and pillows and stuff. Excuse me. Could you get blankets? I think there's some in that. And it's like I'm sitting like right at the aisle, and she opens the thing, and he's like, "Wah!" And she flies back. Oh my God! There's a man in there. And then she gets pissed, like, "Get down from there right now, right now." And I remember it like it was yesterday. She's all, "That's it. I'm going to get the pilot." And he's all, no, let him drive. He's got to drive. True story.
There's a lot of Troy in this
There was some official-looking people that met the flight. And
Oh,
this is
yeah.
old Ontario
Yeah,
where we
yeah.
had the steps going down.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there was, they got off the plane first.
Yeah. Yeah. They were they were talked to.
I hadn't
Yeah.
heard that one. I'd heard the Marine calendars, the stealing the
Yeah,
grass,
stealing the
arrested.
sod
yeah,
and everything.
yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
All right, that's been the X-Brand Goggle Tear-Offs right there.
Wow.
EKSLand.com.
That was 30 seconds.
I
Yeah, that
have
was 30
got to get
seconds.
your best Mike Craig story. I was on a bus one time in Japan with Chris Wheeler, Jason Thomas, Carmichael, and 2 or 3 other people,
He
and it
can't-
turned into a everybody's best
He
Mike
can't
Craig
tell
story.
his best
No,
Mike
no,
Craig
it can't
story,
be on
I'm
there.
sure.
I know
Yeah,
that. I meant
yeah.
afterwards.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The bus ride that was everybody's best Mike Craig story was fantastic.
Poor Christian. Poor Christian.
Oh my
Yeah.
He's had to hear this.
It was wild. It
Oh.
just was really difficult being teammates with him.
And he
was
won
just-
Tampa. He somehow won Tampa.
Yeah.
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 Before we let you go, Jeff Emig here. We do have some motorsport.com tweet at Tits segment. A couple questions for Jeff before we let him go.
What segment?
Tweet at Tits. His nickname is Tits.
Oh, I thought a
Got
tit
it.
segment. I'm like, tit segments. What are they sending pics in? What is this?